Art Loft is brought to you by the Friends of South Florida PBS. In Broward, self-taught artist and sculptor George Gadson has been creating works focused on community for over 3 decades. His work has been shared by the NFL, the White House, and cities across South Florida.
I'm fulfilling my purpose. Several years ago, I wasn't quite sure who I was. Graduated from Duke University to become a Baptist minister. And when I graduated, this is 1975, I really didn't know who I was. So I went into the banking business. In that career, it was very stressful, and I just decided that I needed a hobby, something just to get away from the stress. And over time, fast forward many, many years later, I've come to know that my art is my purpose and my mission, and if you will, my ministry. So I create art with purpose. I'm getting a degree in theology, and what am I going to do with it? I don't know. I was just confused, and that's what I call it, it's confused. In 1974, I studied in Spain at the University of Valencia, and my roommate, who didn't speak a word of English, had taken this candid photo of me sitting on the bed like this. And looking back years later, after I got the photograph and was doing art and thought I'd explore doing a portrait, I thought I'd do a portrait of myself. In the event that it didn't turn out right, I'd be the one that would be offended. Nobody else would be. So I completed the painting. But at the same time, many, many years later, I look back on this painting and I remember where I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I was in a lost place. Over time, when I wanted to explore outside of painting, I decided that I'd do a sculpture. And I'll never forget, it was a paper mache sculpture of a lady, a bust from waist up, and I made the paper myself and everything. That was the beginning, and then got involved in the business community in '95 and heard of the South Florida Super Bowl, looking for a gift to give to the NFL team owners, and I proposed a sculpture of the kicker. I did quarterback later. In 1999, I did a sculpture for the South Florida Super Bowl. The face, there is not a distinct face, no distinct facial features, and I purposely did that so as to leave the ethnicity up to the viewer. It's a human being who is the kicker. If it's a commission, the process really starts with actually meeting with my clients and getting a sense from them what they envision about the art that they'd like to, see and communicate. If it's going in a public space where, people in the public will enjoy it for years to come, I also do research. Research about the space, its current use, as well as maybe its past use, so that indeed the work that's created can speak to both past and present. And then I just sort of meditate and pray and just go, okay, so how are we going to put this all together? And eventually it comes together. It's not a ministry like evangelizing as much as having people have an art experience, either through art classes. I work with kids in foster care, and I work with adults who never have experience creating. Then I use the art as teaching moments, and particularly with kids and adults who don't feel like, I don't have anything to offer. And I use the art term, you are a limited edition, there's only one of you. So therefore, because there's only one of you, there's great value. Kids in foster care that I had the privilege of working with over time, and they did their body cast from the waist up. And I had them decide what pose they wanted to do. And then the interesting part about this project is that element of trust. So they had to trust me that I was going to make sure that they were safe and that they were going to be okay. Once the casts were done of all the kids that were involved, then they had an opportunity to paint their body cast and to use that as a way of expressing where they are or who they are at that particular moment in time. With these kids, you know, giving them that venue and that opportunity for self-expression, it was transformative. In the mornings when I do my morning devotions and read and spend time with God, I have these poems that are dropped in my spirit, and I type them. I would type them or just sort of thoughts I would type in. And you know, I said, you know, I'm going to publish these because there may be someone out there who is at a place where I am now, or maybe at a place later, and these poems might speak to them. So my book is entitled Art Psalms, a compilation of poetry and art, my paintings, my sculptures, my photography. Words. We say them without knowing the impact they have. As a boulder falls into a river's path, changes its course forever, so too can words, dropped into the spirit, heart, and mind of a listener, change their destiny. Words. What will they be? Will they tear down or build up? Will they cause pain or bring healing? Will they bring tears of sadness or tears of gladness? Will they bring death or life? Words. And this is a photograph I had created from styrofoam that I carved, and these are the different words: freedom, hope, wisdom, peace, love. It's not so much the art that's created, but the process of the creation that is important, not to minimize the final product, but it was through the years of creating art and the process of creating the art that I discovered things about myself. And once I discovered it, then I did not let it remain there dormant, but brought it alive. It's never too late to go through the process of discovery. Each one of us has gifts inside of us and talents inside of us. Take a moment to explore what's inside of you, and that's what I did. And I'm so glad I did. There's not a day that goes by that I don't do art.